Welcome to our Hong Kong Brief program. I am your host, Jenny. Today, we dive into the latest happenings around the globe. First up, while President Trump shakes up the U.S. government with his foreign policy changes, Chinese leader Xi Jinping is stepping up to present a picture of stability during China's annual meetings. With the U.S. tariffs looming, Xi's government is focusing on technological advancements and economic growth targets to maintain confidence in China's economy. Next, we turn our attention to Australia, where the sentencing of a driver responsible for a fatal accident has sparked an appeal due to its perceived inadequacy. The tragic incident claimed multiple lives, and prosecutors are pushing for a longer sentence to reflect the severity of the crime and its impact on the victims' families. This case has ignited a public outcry for justice and a reassessment of the legal consequences for dangerous driving. Lastly, in Hong Kong, there's a pressing need for smarter water management solutions. As the city grapples with water resource challenges, experts are advocating for the adoption of digital technology to enhance efficiency and sustainability. This approach not only aligns with global trends towards smart cities but also promises significant cost savings in the long run. Please stay tuned for more detailed coverage on these important topics. CNN reports on the contrasting political atmospheres in the United States and China as President Donald Trump shakes up the U.S. government and foreign policy. Meanwhile, Chinese leader Xi Jinping is orchestrating a tightly controlled political meeting known as the Two Sessions, aimed at showcasing China's stability and confidence amid growing tensions with the U.S. Delegates gather in Beijing as she prepares to highlight China's technological advancements and economic goals, particularly in light of the impending increase in U.S. tariffs on Chinese goods. Analysts predict that despite external pressures, Xi will continue to pursue strategies that bolster innovation and self-sufficiency, projecting an image of business as usual in China while navigating its own economic challenges. Australian Broadcasting Corporation covers the legal aftermath of a tragic road accident in Victoria, where driver Christopher Dylan Joannidis was sentenced to 5.5 years in prison for causing the deaths of several individuals. The sentence has sparked outrage among victims' families and the public, leading prosecutors to appeal the ruling, which they consider manifestly inadequate. Joannidis ignored road signs and warnings before crashing into a vehicle, resulting in the deaths of Debbie Markey and 4 overseas workers. The appeal will be heard by Victoria's Court of Appeal, which will reassess the evidence and the appropriateness of the sentence handed down by Judge Gavin Meredith, who cited Joannidis's early guilty plea and personal struggles as factors in his decision. South China Morning Post emphasizes the urgent need for Hong Kong to modernize its water management through digital technology. Despite falling behind other global cities, the integration of digital systems in water supply services promises enhanced efficiency, sustainability, and resilience against climate change. The initial investment in digital water infrastructure is deemed worthwhile, as it could lead to significant cost savings and better resource utilization. With a staggering 37% of water production currently unmetered, adopting smart water systems could transform Hong Kong into a competitive smart city, attracting international investments. The call to action highlights that investing in digital water management is not just about technology but securing a sustainable future for the city's water supply. South China Morning Post reports on the impending demolition of the Zishan Public School, a unique example of streamlined modern architecture in Hong Kong. Built in 1952, this former village school stands as a historical marker of the area's pre-metropolitan roots and has connections to the adjacent Tin Hau Temple and Cha Kuo Ling village. Despite its architectural significance and the historical context of its location, the school has not been classified as a historic building, and thus lacks protection from demolition. Advocates like Dr. Prudence Lau argue for its preservation, highlighting its architectural rarity and the community's historical fabric. The building's fate hangs in the balance as it faces replacement with public housing, raising questions about the preservation of Hong Kong's heritage in the face of modern development. Associated Press covers the economic fallout from President Donald Trump's recent tariff announcements, which have sent shockwaves through Asian markets. As the U.S. prepares to impose a 25% tariff on imports from Canada and Mexico, alongside an additional 10% on Chinese goods, fears of retaliatory measures from Beijing loom large, particularly concerning U.S. agricultural exports. Following the announcement, major stock indices in Asia opened lower, with Japan's Nikkei and Hong Kong's Hang Seng both experiencing significant declines. This market turmoil reflects broader concerns about the U.S. economy's resilience amid rising inflation and weakening manufacturing reports, prompting investors to reassess their outlook on growth and stability. Nikkei Asia highlights Mandarin Oriental's ambitious expansion plans in Japan, focusing on 3 new hotels in the picturesque Setouchi region. The luxury hotel group aims to promote lesser-known destinations, moving beyond traditional tourist hotspots like Tokyo and Kyoto. CEO Laurent Kleitman emphasizes the region's rich cultural and artistic offerings, as well as its stunning landscapes. The first hotel is set to open in 2027 near Takamatsu, with additional properties planned for Naoshima and another island focusing on wellness. By integrating local craftsmanship, food, and art into the guest experience, Mandarin Oriental seeks to create a unique luxury offering that resonates with the local culture while maintaining its brand identity. This strategic move reflects a growing trend among luxury brands to explore and invest in emerging destinations. South China Morning Post reports that Hong Kong stocks have plunged to their lowest levels in nearly 2 weeks, driven by fears of an escalating trade war after President Donald Trump announced plans to double tariffs on Chinese imports to 20%. The Hang Seng Index dropped 1.7%, while the Hang Seng Tech Index fell 2.6%. Major companies such as Alibaba and Tencent also saw significant declines in their stock prices. The situation is further complicated by China's announcement of countermeasures against U.S. tariffs, with Canada also preparing for retaliatory actions. Amid this turmoil, some Asian markets followed suit, with Japan's Nikkei 225 and South Korea's Kospi also experiencing downturns. In another report, the South China Morning Post highlights a significant drop in Hong Kong property sales, which fell to a 5-month low in February amid escalating U.S.-China tensions. Sales decreased by 13%, with a total value decline of 23.1% compared to the previous month. Analysts attribute this cautious behavior to the uncertainty surrounding U.S. tariffs and the overall market sentiment. However, there is a glimmer of hope as new residential projects have begun to attract buyers post-Lunar New Year, suggesting a potential rebound in the market. The government's recent announcement to reduce stamp duty for mass-market homes has also sparked renewed interest in property transactions. Lastly, the South China Morning Post discusses a shift in sentiment regarding China's property market, with Goldman Sachs and other financial institutions now expressing cautious optimism. After a prolonged downturn, signs of stabilization are emerging, particularly in major cities where new home sales have started to increase. Despite this positive trend, concerns remain regarding the overall health of the housing market, with ongoing pressures on developers and the need for effective policy measures to restore buyer confidence. The market's recovery appears fragile, with many analysts urging caution as they note the potential for a broader rebound remains uncertain amidst structural and economic challenges facing China. Australian Broadcasting Corporation reports that Star Entertainment is teetering on the brink of financial collapse, desperately seeking a lifeline to avoid administration. The company recently entered a trading halt after failing to meet its half-year reporting deadline, indicating severe liquidity issues. Experts suggest that Star may be insolvent and could be utilizing safe harbor provisions to continue operations while trying to turn things around. With 2 main options ahead, appointing an administrator or selling off assets, time is of the essence as the casino operator grapples with regulatory complexities and a potential loss of investor confidence. The looming question remains whether Star can salvage its business and protect nearly 9,000 jobs amidst a backdrop of poor financial decisions and a significant debt burden. The South China Morning Post highlights concerns among social welfare organizations in Hong Kong as the government plans to cut funding by up to 7% over the next 3 years, a move aimed at addressing a substantial budget deficit. The cuts will particularly impact larger organizations that rely on government support, raising alarms about their ability to maintain staffing levels and service delivery. Leaders in the sector express fears that dwindling resources will hinder their capacity to serve the aging population and meet operational needs, with some warning that the cuts could lead to reduced services and increased pressure on smaller entities. The government has proposed allowing organizations to retain unspent funds for extended periods, but many worry that this will not adequately compensate for the impending financial strain. In another report by the South China Morning Post, Hong Kong's financial sector is poised for growth, driven by advancements in artificial intelligence, China's market liberalization, and the increasing wealth of Asian families. The Financial Services Development Council's chairman, Benjamin Hung, emphasized the city's potential to attract investment and serve as a crucial link between mainland China and global markets. With a recent rally in the stock market and improving sentiment following government stimulus measures, Hung plans to promote Hong Kong's real economic picture through international roadshows. As companies shift manufacturing bases in response to geopolitical tensions, Hong Kong stands ready to facilitate financing and trade, reinforcing its status as a leading financial hub in Asia. South China Morning Post reports that Hong Kong developers are ramping up their sales of residential flats as the market shows signs of recovery, spurred by recent government tax relief measures. Notable players like China Vanke and Sun Hung Kai Properties are preparing to launch new projects, with Vanke set to unveil its Lamont project in Taipa, offering a variety of flats designed to cater to different buyer needs. The weekend saw a surge in sales, with 352 flats sold, marking the highest sales in 4 months, attributed to lowered stamp duties on smaller homes. As the stock market rallies, buyers are regaining confidence, leading to a more optimistic outlook on property sales, with developers like Henderson Land and Wong On Properties also reporting strong sales. In another piece from the South China Morning Post, investment bank China International Capital Corporation, CICC, recommends that investors maintain a focus on gold and Chinese stocks, citing their potential for growth despite some short-term volatility. The price of gold has surged significantly, driven by inflation concerns and increased demand from global central banks, particularly in Asia. CICC analysts highlight that gold's low correlation with other assets and its historical returns make it a strategic investment. Similarly, they assert that Chinese stocks offer attractive valuations and are supported by ongoing innovation, especially in the technology sector, which has seen a positive performance recently. The analysts predict that AI advancements will significantly boost China's GDP, further enhancing the appeal of these investments. Lastly, the South China Morning Post shares the inspiring story of David Koo, a 60-year-old Hong Kong father who has successfully lost weight after being prescribed Ozempic, a medication that helps manage appetite. Struggling with obesity and health issues, Koo underwent significant lifestyle changes after being advised by his doctor to quit drinking and adopt a healthier diet. With the help of Ozempic, he experienced reduced cravings and has lost 14 kilograms, moving closer to his target weight. Koo has transformed his eating habits, opting for healthier choices and incorporating regular physical activity into his routine. His journey underscores the importance of making sustainable lifestyle changes in the pursuit of better health, particularly for those facing obesity-related challenges. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.
News breaks, buzz the ground, stories spit, walls come down. Voices merge into sound, faces mix in the crowd. Broadcasters paint the scene, world events on our screen. Every link a different theme, words collide in the stream. 6 degrees connect the dots, background stories more than nuts. Hear the voices rise aloft, truth unveils in every spot. Cultures clash across the globe, spin the threads in a stroke. Every story wears a robe, truth and lies in their code. Journalistic real deep, secrets that they don't see. Every angle they will keep, in the news we take a lead. New perspectives day by day, hidden truths come to play. In the background shades of gray, every story finds its way. Perspectives day by day, hidden truths come to play. In the background shades of gray, every story finds its way.
Cultures, I go, what really or do not, what enough to be you, everything and ever, what enough and after, what enough and after, what enough and after, enough 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 enough